Previously, in the low-profile CPU cooler showdown, the Be Quiet Shadow Rock LP took on the Noctua NH-L9A in a fight to reign supreme. It was a close match, but in the end, the Shadow Rock LP came out on top, winning the first round in the low-profile CPU cooler showdown. But this week, there's a new contender, the Noctua NH-L12S. Time for round 2. Hello, welcome to PC Jack. So, a few weeks back, I tested two different CPU coolers head to head to see which one performed the best. Both the Be Quiet Shadow Rock LP and the Noctua NH-L9A performed pretty closely, but in the end, it was the Shadow Rock LP which proved to be the better performer out of the two. Now, in what I'm hoping will be a series of long-running CPU cooler showdowns, today I've tested the Noctua NH-L12S against the Be Quiet Shadow Rock LP. Before I go through the results though, let's take a look at the specs for the NH-L12S. The Noctua NH-L12S is a CPU cooler designed specifically for use in a small form factor enclosure. At a height of 70mm with the fan underneath the heatsink, the fan that's included is the NF-A12X15 Slim, which allows for much better compatibility in cases with limited clearance without sacrificing performance. Designed to support CPUs with a 95W TDP, it's aided by 4 copper heat pipes that help dissipate heat. Using Noctua's SecuFirm 2 mounting system, installation is pretty straightforward, which is always appreciated with these kinds of coolers. At the time of filming, the NH-L12S can be had for around $49.99, whereas you can currently buy the Shadow Rock LP for around £35, so only a slight premium over the latter, but we'll see whether that extra cost is worth it. So while being pretty close in terms of design with the Shadow Rock LP, I was curious to see which one performs the best under load. Both are excellent options when it comes to low profile CPU cooling, but we can only have one winner today. For the sake of simplicity, I've tested both coolers in an open-air testbed configuration. Bear in mind, these results will vary depending on the clearance limitations and airflow configuration of your case. Testing with the Ryzen 5 5600X, running Cinebench R20 to put a sustained multi-core load on the system. Starting with the Shadow Rock LP, we can see that the cooler hit a maximum of 64C while averaging around 62.9C. Bumping up to max fan speed, the maximum temperature dropped down to 62.8C, so only a 1.2C reduction, while averaging around 61.8C. Overall, a pretty good run for the Shadow Rock LP, but how does it compare with the NH-L12S? Running the same test as previously, the NH-L12S with the stock fan curve hit a maximum of 63.1C, so a slight advantage over the Shadow Rock LP on that one, while averaging around 62.7C. Running the NH-L12S at max speed saw a maximum temperature of 62C with an average of 62.9C. Additionally, both coolers were able to maintain our 5600X running 4.3 GHz across all 6 cores with decent thermal headroom to spare. So overall, a pretty close match with both coolers neck and neck when it comes to temperatures under sustained load. While the NH-L12S manages to take the lead at the stock fan configuration, the Shadow Rock LP pulls ahead very slightly when it comes to maximum fan speed, which is going to be the advantage of having a slightly larger fan. However, in both configurations, the NH-L12S was much quieter compared to the Shadow Rock LP, which is worth considering depending on your requirements. Personally, I also found the installation was much easier with the NH-L12S with its SecuFirm 2 mounting system. While the Shadow Rock LP isn't too difficult to install, keeping those 2 screws on the mounting bracket while trying to install it can be a bit of a pain. Overall though, there can only be one winner, and today, that's Noctua with the NH-L12S. I've been really impressed with the NH-L12S, and while it's a worthy option for a low profile cooler, both coolers are still excellent choices, but if I had to pick one, it would be the NH-L12S. So, that's it for today's video. What are your thoughts on both the Be Quiet Shadow Rock LP and Noctua's NH-L12S? Also, let me know which cooler you would like to see next against the NH-L12S in round 3. Also, thank you to Noctua for sending this out to test today. If you enjoyed this video, then please feel free to like and subscribe for more videos on the way soon. Thank you. I'll see you next time.